Rimuru, the Hero Copycat by RimuruEdward6. Chapter 20. All Might Pav. The evening was quiet for once, a rare moment of peace that allowed me to sit back and reflect. The news of the destruction at one of All for One's hideouts had been a topic of discussion among heroes, but there had been no further developments since the video surfaced. That is, until I heard a voice. "Copycat here," the voice echoed in my mind, steady but tinged with urgency. I straightened in my seat, the familiar tone of Rimuru catching me off guard. "Copycat," I muttered to myself. I had never spoken to her directly before. She worked with Hawks, not me. "I know I usually do this through Hawks," her voice continued, as if reading my thoughts. "But he's not in range with the quirk suppressors active. I need assistance. I've been kidnapped by All for One. Request for aid is needed." The words sent a chill down my spine. Kidnapped by All for One. My fists clenched involuntarily, the memory of my past battles against him flashing in my mind. "Where are you?" I asked aloud, knowing she could hear me. "I'm being held in a facility not far from the industrial district," she replied. "I can't give exact coordinates, but I can send a rough mental map. I'm in a suppression chamber, so my quirks are limited." The urgency in her voice was unmistakable, but she was still composed, even in this dire situation. I closed my eyes, focusing as the mental map she promised appeared in my mind, a vague but clear enough layout of where she was. "Understood," I said firmly, already rising to my feet. "Help is on the way." "Be careful," she added, her tone softening slightly. "This isn't just a random hideout. It's a trap, and I don't know what he's planning. But, thank you." Her voice faded, and I was left in silence. I grabbed my phone, dialing quickly as I moved. "This is All Might. I need backup at the industrial district," an immediate response. "A hero has been taken by All for One." Even as I issued the call for reinforcements, my mind was racing. Rimuru, Copycat, was in All for One's grasp. Whatever he was planning, it was bigger than just her capture. But she had reached out for help. And I wasn't going to let her down. "Hold on, Copycat," I thought, determination surging through me as I stepped out into the night. "You've shown incredible strength to make it this far. Now, it's time for me to do my part." With that, I set off, ready to face whatever waited ahead. Hawks Pav. I was mid-flight, cutting through the night sky on a routine patrol when my phone buzzed in my jacket pocket. Usually, I'd ignore it until I landed, whoever it was could wait, but this time, the caller ID made me pause mid-glide. "All Might," I muttered, pulling out the phone and answering quickly. "Talk to me," I said, already feeling the tension in his tone before he spoke. "Hawks," All Might's voice came through, firm but urgent. "I just received a message from Copycat." My wings faltered for half a second before I adjusted. "Rimuru?" I asked, my voice sharper than I intended. "What did she say?" "She's been kidnapped by All for One," All Might said, his tone leaving no room for doubt. "She managed to contact me because you were out of range. She's being held at a facility near the industrial district, under heavy suppression. I'm on my way now." My grip on the phone tightened. She's in a suppression chamber." I asked, anger bubbling beneath the surface. "And you're just now calling me?" "She reached out moments ago," All Might replied, his voice calm but firm. "I'm calling you because I need your help. This isn't a solo rescue. All for One is planning something, and Rimuru made it clear this could be a trap." A trap. Of course, it was a trap. This was All for One we were dealing with. "I'm in," I said immediately, angling my wings toward the industrial district. "Send me the coordinates. I'll be there before you." "Hawks," All Might said, his tone softening slightly. "We need to proceed carefully. If All for One wants us to come after her, we can't play into his hands without a plan." "I know," I snapped, though my frustration wasn't aimed at him. "But I'm not sitting around while Rimuru's stuck in one of his chambers. Plan or no plan, I'm getting her out." There was a pause on the line, then a resigned sigh. "Just don't do anything reckless," All Might said. "We need her alive, and we need you in one piece." "Understood," I replied, ending the call before he could say more. My mind raced as I sped toward the industrial district, my feathers bristling with barely contained fury. Rimuru, Copycat, was the strongest, sharpest person I knew. If All for One had managed to capture her, he wasn't just playing games. He was escalating. Hold on, Rimuru, I muttered, the city lights blurring beneath me. I'm coming for you. As I sped toward the industrial district, the air around me seemed to hum with tension. Every second felt like an eternity, and my mind was spinning with plans and contingencies for what I'd face when I got there. Then, suddenly, I heard her voice. Copycat here. I need assistance. I've been kidnapped by All for One. Request for aid is needed. I froze mid-flight, my wings beating in place as the words echoed in my mind. It was her, Rimuru, clear as day. But this wasn't like our usual telepathic exchanges. This was desperate, focused, and entirely businesslike. She wasn't talking to just me. She was sending the same message to anyone who could help. The thought made my chest tighten. Rimuru wasn't the type to ask for help lightly, let alone broadcast her vulnerability like this. I angled my wings and dove, speeding up as I called out to her in my thoughts. Rimuru, I'm here. I'm on my way. Just hold on. There was no response, but I could feel the faint trace of her presence, distant, muffled, but still there. She's alive, I told myself, gripping onto that one thought like a lifeline. I replayed her words in my mind as I flew, noting every detail. No bravado, no teasing, just a clear and urgent call for help. She was keeping it simple, leaving out anything unnecessary, including the line she'd apparently told All Might about normally reaching me. It made sense. If she thought I was too far away to hear her, she wouldn't waste time explaining. But now I was close enough. Close enough to hear her. Close enough to act. All for One, you're not keeping her, I muttered under my breath, my feathers sharpening in anticipation. With her voice still echoing in my mind, I pushed myself to go faster. I didn't care if this was a trap. I wasn't going to let him win. Just hold on, Rimuru. I'm almost there. As I neared the industrial district, her voice came through again, but this time, it wasn't just a broadcast, it was directed at me. Finally, you're in range for normal conversation. Limits are stupid. I smirked despite the tension in my chest. That was the Rimuru I knew. Rimuru, I thought back quickly, are you okay? What's your status? Her voice was calm, but there was an edge of frustration to it. I just need to open this stupid door. All for One thinks I'm completely neutralized, like some helpless regular person. But Copycat isn't normal, Hawks. You know that. My heart raced as I processed her words. You still have access to your quirks. Kind of, she admitted. The suppression is limiting me, but I can still use some quirks, lesser forms, sure, but better than nothing, right? I exhaled sharply, relief flooding through me. That's more than I hoped for. Can you give me a layout of where you are? She paused for a moment, then replied, I'm in a suppression chamber, underground. The door is reinforced, but it's not impenetrable. I've been chipping away at it with what I've got, but I'll need backup to get through completely. I'm almost there, I said, banking toward the coordinates she'd mentally shared earlier. Just hang tight. We're getting you out. Her laugh echoed faintly in my mind, wry but determined. Hawks, I'm not going anywhere until I make sure All for One knows I'm not some helpless damsel. So, get ready, because the second you're here, we're taking this place apart. I smirked, her confidence fueling my own. Wouldn't expect anything less. Just don't get yourself killed before I get there, alright? No promises, she shot back, a hint of mischief in her tone. Now hurry up. This door is driving me insane. With her voice guiding me, I pushed myself faster, my feathers bristling in anticipation. Rimuru wasn't down for the count, not even close. And together, we were about to make sure All for One regretted ever underestimating her. Hold on, Rimuru. I'm almost there, I thought, determination surging through me. Let's show him what happens when you mess with Copycat. Chapter 21. All for One POV. The air in the suppression chamber was heavy, charged with a faint hum from the devices dampening Rimuru's quirks. She was seated, her silver hair disheveled but her golden eyes sharp, defiant as ever. The restraints held her in place, but they didn't diminish the fire in her gaze. I stepped into the room, the door closing behind me with a faint hiss. The sound of my footsteps echoed in the otherwise silent chamber as I approached her. Rimuru, I said, my voice calm and measured. How are you finding your accommodations? She smirked, leaning back as much as the restraints allowed. Could use a better view. The whole, dimly lit prison cell, aesthetic is getting old. I chuckled softly, clasping my hands behind my back. Your wit is as sharp as ever. A remarkable trait, though I wonder how far it will get you this time. Her eyes narrowed. Far enough to make sure you lose. I tilted my head, studying her. Even now, restrained and suppressed, she radiated defiance. It was admirable, in a way, a testament to the resilience I had instilled in her. And yet, I said, my tone soft but cutting, you sit here, bound and powerless. A stark contrast to the fireworks and theatrics you so boldly displayed not long ago. Powerless, she repeated, raising an eyebrow. You sure about that? Last I checked, copycat isn't exactly normal. I paused, watching her carefully. There was an edge to her voice, a confidence that shouldn't exist given her current situation. You always did have a knack for surprises, I said, stepping closer. But let me remind you, Rimuru, whatever power you believe you hold, it pales in comparison to mine. She rolled her eyes, the smirk never leaving her face. Oh, please. You're so predictable, all for one. Big speeches, bigger ego. Let me guess, you're here to remind me that I'm your creation, right? That no matter what I do, I'll always be connected to you. I stopped just short of her, my smile fading. You mock me, but you cannot deny the truth, Rimuru. Every move you make, every strategy you employ, it all traces back to me. Your strength is my design. Her golden eyes locked onto mine, unflinching. If you're so sure of that, she said, her voice calm and deliberate, then why are you so desperate to keep me here? The question hung in the air, a challenge I hadn't expected. Because, I said slowly, my tone darkening, you are a threat, not just to me, but to the very balance I have worked to create. Your defiance undermines everything, and I cannot allow it to continue unchecked. She laughed, a sharp, mocking sound that echoed in the chamber. Wow, you really don't get it, do you? This isn't about you, all for one. It never was. I'm fighting for something bigger than your little power games. I leaned in closer, my presence looming over her. And yet, here you are. Caught. Contained. A symbol of your own failure. Her smirk widened, a glint of mischief in her eyes. If you really think I'm contained, you're not as smart as you think you are. Something in her tone gave me pause, but I masked it quickly, straightening and turning toward the door. You may have your quips, Rimuru, but they will not save you. Enjoy your time here, while it lasts. As I left the chamber, her laughter followed me, grating and unsettling. For the first time in years, I felt a flicker of uncertainty. What are you planning, Rimuru? Hawk's Paw. The industrial district came into view, the cold metallic structures casting long shadows under the dim moonlight. I was scanning the area for any signs of Rimuru when her voice suddenly slipped into my mind, clear and confident. Hey, Hawks. I'm in range for the full support package. We can do this like we always do again. I felt a rush of relief and focus all at once, her tone as casual as if we were back on a routine mission. Glad to hear it, copycat. What's the status? You still pinned down? Yeah, she replied, a faint note of irritation in her voice. Suppression chambers still active, so my quirks are nerfed. But I can give you the full layout of this place. Same deal as always, intel from me, action from you. I grinned, adjusting my trajectory to keep low and fast. You've got a deal. Send me what you've got. A moment later, the mental map appeared in my mind, detailed and precise, as if she'd been walking the corridors herself. She highlighted the suppression chamber she was in, the guard routes, and even the best entry points. You've been busy, I thought, impressed. Always, she said lightly. You know me, Hawks. I don't sit around twiddling my thumbs. Good, I replied, banking toward the entry point she'd marked as the least guarded. Let's do this. One more thing, she added, her tone softening slightly. Be careful. This place is crawling with all for one's lackeys, and they're not amateurs. You worried about me, Rimuru? I teased, smirking as I approached the building. Always, she said simply, and I could feel the faint warmth in her words. Now stop wasting time and get me out of here. On it, I thought, focusing on the task ahead. With her intel guiding me, I knew exactly where to strike. The full support package was back, and this time, we weren't just going to break her out, we were going to send a message of our own. Hang tight, Rimuru, I thought as I moved into position. We're about to turn this place upside down. All Might Paw. The industrial district loomed ahead, a maze of towering buildings and dimly lit alleys. My senses were on high alert as I moved toward the facility Rimuru had described. My mind raced with possibilities, wondering what kind of horrors All for One had in store. Then, I heard her voice, calm, steady, and unmistakable. "Hey, All Might. Hawks will get through the back. Can you make sure the attention is at the front?" I stopped in my tracks, startled by the sudden telepathic connection. "Rimuru," I said aloud, my voice low. "You're speaking directly to me." She chuckled faintly in my mind. "Yeah, surprising, huh? You might ask yourself how I can talk to you if my quirk should be completely compromised." The thought had crossed my mind. The suppression devices All for One used were some of the most powerful tools I'd encountered, capable of neutralizing even the strongest quirks. "Well," she continued, "it's because my quirk can't be totally suppressed. I'm the only person who has this kind of thing. Limited, sure, but not completely compromised." Her tone carried a hint of pride, and despite the situation, I couldn't help but smile. "That's incredible, Rimuru. But are you sure you're safe enough to coordinate this?" "Safe enough," she replied. "And don't worry, I've already done the hard part. Hawks is moving in through the back. If you can draw their attention to the front, it'll give him the opening he needs." I nodded to myself, already forming a plan. "Understood. I'll make sure the front is loud enough to get everyone's attention." "Good," she said, her voice softening. "I'm counting on you, All Might. Just don't overdo it, okay? I don't need both of us ending up in trouble." I chuckled, my old instincts kicking in. "I've got this, Rimuru. You focus on staying strong." "Always," she replied, and the connection faded, leaving me with a renewed sense of purpose. I moved toward the front of the facility, every step deliberate. Hawks would need the cover to infiltrate unnoticed, and I'd make sure he got it. "All for One," I murmured to myself, clenching my fists. "You've underestimated her, and us." With Rimuru's guidance and Hawks in position, we were about to turn this trap into a rescue mission they wouldn't forget. All for One POV. The industrial facility hummed with activity, my operatives stationed strategically throughout the building. The suppression devices holding Rimuru in check thrummed steadily, a sound that filled me with satisfaction. She was here, contained, and her confidence would soon shatter. Or so I thought. A commotion at the front entrance pulled my attention. Explosions, the sound of metal crashing against metal, and shouts from my guards echoed through the corridors. My monitors flared to life, displaying All Might himself tearing through the defenses like a wrecking ball. I leaned back in my chair, steepling my fingers as I watched the chaos unfold. "So, the symbol of peace has come to play," I murmured, a faint smile curling on my lips. "All Might is engaging at the front," Overseer reported, his voice clipped. "He's drawing most of our forces." "How convenient," I replied, my tone measured. "And what of the rest of the facility? Any unusual activity?" "None detected so far," he said. "The suppression chamber remains secure." I nodded slowly, my gaze flicking to the screens. All Might's arrival was no coincidence. He was here for Rimuru. But something about this felt too deliberate. Rimuru wasn't the type to leave things to chance. She was a strategist, always 10 steps ahead. This frontal assault wasn't her style, at least, not entirely. "She's using him," I murmured to myself, realization dawning. "Sir?" Overseer asked, glancing at me. "All Might is a distraction," I said, my smile widening. "Someone else is coming in from the back." Overseer stiffened, his hand moving to his communicator. "I'll send additional forces." "No," I interrupted, raising a hand. "Let them come. I want to see how far they'll go to reclaim her." I stood, turning to one of the monitors displaying the suppression chamber. Rimuru sat there, calm and composed, her golden eyes scanning her surroundings with a focus that unsettled even me. "You always did excel at turning the tables, Rimuru," I said softly, watching her expression. "But let's see if you can do so while under my thumb." The sound of All Might's continued assault reverberated through the facility, shaking the very walls. My operatives scrambled to contain the chaos, their efforts valiant but ultimately futile against someone like him. But I wasn't worried. The trap wasn't just for Rimuru. It was for all of them. I turned to Overseer, my voice calm but commanding. "Double the guard at the suppression chamber." Let Hawks find his way in, but ensure he doesn't leave. Yes, my lord, Overseer said, bowing before rushing to carry out my orders. As I watched the monitors, my smile widened. Come, Hawks, I murmured. Let's see if your wings can carry you through the storm I've prepared. And with that, I settled back into my chair, ready to see how far they were willing to go, and how far they would fall.